All right, guys, so this might be uncomfortable to hear, but here's the thing. Meditation isn't helping everyone. In fact, it's doing the complete opposite for some people. It's helping them avoid exactly what they need to feel. So let's talk about it. Okay, guys, so have you personally been meditating for a long time and felt like meditation just isn't working for you? Like you hear all these things about people saying that meditation is transformational, it transformed my life. I am so much more at peace. Everything is just aligning for me every time I've been meditating. So without taking the piss though, seriously, guys, is meditation working for you or not? Now, today I'm going to talk about why it may not be working for you and how actually some people use it as an excuse, as an avoidant tactic. Now, this doesn't mean that's you, okay? You got to remember that the mind is a very complex tool and it uses certain coping mechanisms to get through life. So this is just really a video to help you become aware and just check in with yourself and hopefully give you some tools to help you use meditation in a way that is beneficial to you. So meditation essentially is a tool. Now, I personally think that one of the reasons why it may not be working for you is as simple as not using the right type of technique. The other thing that you have to check in with is your ego. I have known so many people who have told me, when I meditate, I need to meditate for like 3 hours a day because that's how I truly connect. Now, nothing wrong with that, man, if that's what you want to do. But here's the thing. Realistically, meditating for 3 hours a day for most people isn't going to happen. I say 10 to 20 minutes once to twice a day is excellent for most people. Now, if you're a monk and this is like literally your life path and you're meant to do this, your spiritual path for the rest of your life, then go ahead, meditate for 3 hours a day. But for most people, that is just not realistic. So let's begin by talking about the different types of meditation. Now, we've all heard of mindful meditation, there is movement meditation, there is transcendental meditation, there is visualization meditation, there is mantra meditation, which kind of goes within the TM meditation. There is all sorts of different types of meditation. I can't even think about all the other ones because I don't use those anymore. Breath meditation, there you go, found another one. So essentially, one of the reasons why I think meditation, first and foremost, might not be working for you is because maybe you are doing something that might not be resonating with you. I personally have tried many, many different types of meditations. I started off with just online YouTube. I heard of just emptying out the mind, breath meditation, where you just follow the breath, and if your mind drifts away, you just bring it back to the present moment, the breath. I have done transcendental meditation for 2 or 3 years, and I thought, because I've heard everybody rave about transcendental meditation, how it was amazing, how it had all these benefits, I was like, all right, great, I'm gonna get into transcendental meditation. I would go to group meditations, I would practice it twice a day as it was recommended for 20 minutes. I did everything that they told me to do. And it did not work for me. Now, for me, transcendental meditation was a stepping stone for something much bigger, for something much greater, for something that did align with me, which is obviously my own technique that I had built over time. And I needed to go through transcendental meditation to learn that. But when I did transcendental meditation, I can't say it, transcendental meditation, got it. I got fat. I was unhappy. I was still in my addiction. I was attracting still really bad people. I was not happy. Everything in my life was just not where I wanted it to be. And I'm not necessarily blaming transcendental meditation for that because, hello, we got to take accountability. This is us, our lives, we're in charge of it. However, everything that was promised or everything that was said that transcendental meditation was going to give me, it did not. And when I finally decided to let it go, when I finally decided to veer off on my own and continue the practice of meditation, but just find something that was more in alignment with who I am, then my life did start getting better. My skin cleared out, I lost the weight, everything started just to fall into place after that. But I wondering why, to begin with, it didn't work out. Well, when I look back to begin with, there's a lot of things. So first and foremost, I found transcendental meditation to be a little bit cultish. Now, it doesn't mean that all transcendental meditation places and studios are like this, but the one that I went to, unfortunately, I felt that vibe a little bit. The people that were running it did not have the purest intentions. The teacher that was teaching me, I realized after the fact, that was interested in me, and he had other motives. On top of that, I did not like the fact that you had to pay money to be given a special mantra. And really, it made me realize that it was feeding my ego. Now, one of my biggest lessons, and I'm still learning this lesson, is to do with my ego. I mean, everybody has an ego. Everybody has that part of you that is human and that wants to survive what you identify with. But that was a big lesson at the time. And it basically made me feel special because the teacher was giving me special attention. I got this special mantra. He gave me a scholarship because I am so special and I deserve this special thing. And he was giving me extra attention and I was just such a good student. Blah, blah, blah. Ego, 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 ego. And again, for me, there's nothing wrong with that, because if you really want to go into what is spiritual, even the ego is spiritual. There's nothing wrong with the ego. It's part of the human experience. But it was feeding my ego. It was amplifying my ego, and it wasn't allowing me to really tap in and tune in to my higher self, my higher purpose beyond the physical, beyond this reality, how to be truly of service. I was looking in ways that I could take, basically, because I had nothing inside of me. So obviously I had to empty my cup. Now, again, I'm not saying that this is your case. I'm just giving you an example as to why, for me, that type of meditation didn't work. And it's to begin with because maybe my intentions weren't right, the circumstances weren't right. There's a lot of things. Now, another reason why it might not work for some people is because essentially people use meditation to avoid, to escape, and not to feel. When we tune into the meditation, some of us are very good at switching off and drifting away and detaching from your emotions. Everything is an illusion. This is a matrix. Nothing is real. It doesn't matter what you do. And so you learn essentially to detach. And that can create all sorts of problems because you're avoiding, you're using toxic positivity as opposed to actually addressing the problem, dealing with it, and then using that to build strength, to be more positive. And it has this negative ripple effect. And no wonder in your life, then you wonder why things aren't working out, because so within, so without. Another reason why I'm saying this, if you think about, for instance, trauma responses, right? Let's just say that you have fight, flight, freeze. Let's just say that you have a freeze response, right? So every time you're having a traumatic experience, you essentially go into meditation state and you go into a freeze state. And instead of addressing the issue, going into the problem and resolving it from within, you're actually going within to run away from it. So you're teaching yourself, literally training yourself to avoid the problem once again. So what I will say about meditation for me personally is that what I've discovered is meditation isn't just about feeling great all the time. For me, meditation is diving deep within yourself and discovering who you are, finding out all of the layers of yourself and learning to sit with that, the good and the bad. And through the meditation, understand the mechanisms behind why you have this trauma, where was it created, where did it start, and how can I find peace with that? How can I find a resolution with that within myself so that if I can heal it from within, guess what? It heals on the outside. One of the things that I tell a lot of my students about meditation as well is like, listen, a lot of people love the meditation side of it because they're getting downloads, they're getting information, they sometimes get visions and like they hear things or they have that aha moment, which is amazing, okay? Love it. But that is not the spiritual part of the meditation. For me, the true part of the meditation is receiving that information and then applying it in the physical world. So if I receive a download that I'm currently going through some old trauma from childhood and it's making me triggered and it's making me act out with a partner, with a friend, and it's making me passive aggressive. My job at this point is to apply the information and resolve it within, and obviously not be passive aggressive to the people around me, and that's how I heal it. So we got to remember that we often think of spiritual as just this thing in our head or this thing outside of us, but the physical body is just as spiritual as the outside and the mind and the energy, because the body is energy. Everything is spiritual, guys. Everything. You know, to take it even further, you know, somebody who, you know, the shadow and the light is spiritual. So somebody who's doing satanic rituals, that is spiritual. I mean, we don't like that type of spiritual thing unless you're a Satanist, in which case you're like, hey, that's amazing. I love it. As long as you're not sacrificing children or animals, you do you, boo. But that's my point. Anything is spiritual. Money is spiritual. Anything is spiritual. So when people reject these things as non-spiritual, they're rejecting themselves, they're rejecting the reality of the existence that we're experiencing right now, and they're essentially avoiding. And that's where toxic positivity can come in. You know, in the spiritual community, we talk a lot about this, and a lot of people don't really quite get it because it's like we hear all the time, be positive, think well, think high frequency. Again, nothing wrong with that, but what you avoid will persist as well. So if you can be positive, you can have that positive energy and all that sort of stuff, but if there is an obvious issue going on, you have to address it, you have to deal with it. And it's almost like, I love this saying, it's like, apparently, I'm pretty sure, hopefully don't butcher me out there, people, you can put in the comment below and fix it if I'm saying it wrong, but I believe that it's said that the buffaloes, oftentimes when there's a storm, they don't go in the opposite direction of the storm because the storm will constantly chase them. They actually go into the storm, because once they go into it, on the other side, the storm is gone. There's like the sun and the clouds and everything is clear. So this is the same theory that I'm seeing with us, with humans, is oftentimes meditation is the opportunity for us to go into the storm in a safe way. Because we're in control, we're in a seated position where we are directing our minds. The time where it doesn't feel safe, it's when its life comes at us. And there are all these factors that we cannot control. And that's when it gets out of hand and it's more difficult to handle. Again, not impossible, it's just more difficult. So meditation is a healing tool. Meditation is a transformational tool. Meditation is a spiritual tool. But you got to be careful, just like anything out there, a good thing can be turned into something bad. And how you use it, it's up to you. What we should use meditation for is to teach us to settle down the nervous system, to calm the system down, to take us out of fight or flight or freeze, and to essentially remind ourselves that it is safe for us to be with ourselves, to go within. So instead of training ourselves to avoid, we should be training ourselves to sit with the discomfort, to sit with the emotions, to sit with the shadows and the light. All of it. And the most important thing for me personally is training my nervous system to be calm. I have had a lot of traumas in my life, like many of you, I am sure. And what happens if anything negative happens? Impulse reaction. That impulse reaction does not lead to good decisions. Oftentimes it leads to problems, to lashing out, to anger, to maybe even aggression in some cases, and you can really hurt other people or yourself. So meditation helps us recognize that first and foremost, our nervous system is shot, because half the time you don't know what you don't know. It's like the boiling frog. You know, it's like you're living at a certain temperature and you think that this is great, but then when you go into meditation, it lowers the temperature and you realize actually you've been living in like extreme anxiety and pressure this whole time that you had no idea. So meditation allows you every day to fine-tune that machine and let it know how you want to approach your life. Tell it to calm down, that it is safe, and it's a much better way to start your day as well. So let's put it down to this. Meditation is a tool to do many, many things, not just spiritual. Okay, so here's the question for you. If meditation hasn't worked for you, then I want you to ask yourself why. And here are some questions. Why did you start meditating to begin with? What were you seeking? And where are you getting your meditation from? Are you just focused on one technique, or have you been trying many different techniques? And the way that you're going to know that meditation is working, it's simply when you start feeling better and your life starts getting better. Now, that doesn't mean that the meditation itself is going to make you feel immediately better, because it is a practice. It does take work, and it means that you have to stretch, which can oftentimes be a little painful at first. But the results is where you're going to know it's going to work for you. Also, you're going to have to give it time. It's not something that you do once and go, my life hasn't changed. Well, didn't work. You have to commit to the practice. The other thing is I want you to look at is like, how do you feel after your meditation? Do you feel frustrated? Do you feel angry? Or do you feel blissful? And really asking yourself, are these real feelings, or am I avoiding? Am I training myself to avoid my emotions? Or is this frustration because really I have been looking at something that I don't want to address, and maybe I'm just not committing to it because I'm afraid of what I'm going to find out? Or are you making the excuses again? It's like, oh, I can't sit still. I can't be in peace. Whatever that stuff is that you tell yourself. So again, it depends on what reason you're using meditation for. And it comes back to, why do you want to meditate? I started meditating because I wanted to heal my life. I started meditating because I wanted to heal myself. I started meditating because I wanted to be able to have a say in my life. Because now I am co-creating with myself, with the universe, and I'm not so much a victim. I'm not so much reacting to life and just whatever happens. I understand that I have some level of power. Also, the discipline of meditation. I am training my mind, I am training myself, and I'm connecting to myself and getting to know myself the best way possible. So essentially that I can be my best self. So guys, leave a comment below and let me know why you started meditating. And if it's not working for you, then leave a comment below and let me know why. I might do some more videos on this. Obviously, everybody's going to have their own reasons, but make sure that it's not the excuse that you cannot meditate. I worked in rehabs for 2 years, and I've worked with people who have been withdrawing from substances. I've worked with people with mental illness, and they can all meditate. So oftentimes you have to be careful of the ego, because the ego tells you that you cannot do something because honestly, it doesn't want to change. And so essentially you just want to be miserable. Remember, life is hard. Being miserable is hard, and being happy is also hard. Choose your heart. They both require work. All right, guys. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought of this video. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. We are doing so good. Obviously, go and check out my meditations. I always get such amazing comments from people, by the way. I feel like once you find something that resonates with you, once it clicks, it clicks. So I hope my meditations resonate with you and they can help you. I have really been doing this for such a long time, and I channel everything now, but it has been such a powerful transformational tool in my life, and I cannot live without it now. So I hope that one day you will find something that works for you too, whether it's my meditations or somebody else's. Okay, guys, as always, have a magical day. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.